Good afternoon. It's the 7th of September. So today we'll be discussing the new Thai government and some of the outlook. It's been an interesting few months. Mithma, could you give us a rundown of the new government and cabinet before Paul gives us his insights on the matters at hand?
Sure, they. So, like you said, it has been an eventful few months in Thailand since the general elections on May 14th. The new cabinet received the royal approval, shortly followed by the swearing-in ceremony in Bangkok on September 5th. So, the new coalition government has 314 seats in parliament, and it is made up of 11 parties led by the Pheu Thai party. The coalition also includes the Boomjai Thai Party as well as conservative military-backed parties including the Palang Pracharat Party and the United Thai Nation Party. Now, Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin will preside over the cabinet while also undertaking the role of finance minister. The Pheu Thai Party will take on key economic portfolios as well as three deputy prime ministerial positions. Key ministries such as defense, transport, commerce, health, and foreign affairs will also be led by members of the Pheu Thai Party. The PTP's largest coalition partner, Boomjai Thai, will oversee the education, interior, and labor ministries, while parties of the conservative military bloc will be tasked with leading the energy and environmental ministries. Now, this coalition government has sparked controversy among pro democracy groups, especially because it incorporates members from both the opposition and conservative political blocs, isolating a large segment of voters. There have also been concerns over the Shinawatras' influence in Thai politics following and subsequent arrest of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. Thaksin's entrance has since been commuted from 8 years to one. So it is a very dynamic time in Thai politics. Paul, would you like to give your opinions on the ongoing situation in Thailand?
Yeah, most certainly. Look, I think the key thing to take away from here is parties that have actually stated they won't work with each other, that had opposite policies, have now formed a coalition. I think that's really significant in Thailand. What it says is let's get power at all costs. Let's prevent change of democracy. The Move Forward Party, which clearly won the vote on a strong mandate from the people, has been excluded. I think political parties that are in power and the key people, they're going to spend this next term stitching up their own power and metaphorically stitching up anything representing the Move Forward Party and change. So the old institutions, particularly the military and the royal family, along with old former enemies in Thaksin and Pheu Thai Party, which are much of muchness, have linked up together. That doesn't all goes well for Thailand. No, not necessarily. Whilst the coalition's been set and we expect the next 3 years or so to be stable, towards the end of this tenure, we're going to see everybody racing back to jockey and to try and establish their power base. So this coalition, whilst there's going to be, it's in everyone's interest to keep things stable, it's not in everyone's interest to look after Thailand or the Thai people, but rather only look after the powers to be at the top of the conservatives and the neocons. So it isn't a great thing for Thailand. It isn't a great thing for the economy. They've also put Sutin Klungsang as the defence minister. That's a weak and veiled attempt to placate concerns about the military's influence. The reality is everybody sees through that. The bigger picture, we're going to see a push to get rid of everything Move Forward Party, everything that represents change, and we're going to see the old cronies continue to knuckle down and seek power for money. The flip side of that is Thailand will maintain its largely central conservative and pro-conservative values, which of course do lead it to be a country that people like to visit. But behind that is all the economic and nepotistic issues. Uday, back to you.
Yeah, Paul, what I'd say was quite striking is the power, the ability, and the agility of the establishment to maneuver for its goals. As you mentioned, the Move Forward Party won the popular vote, but now it's relegated to the opposition and it's not even the opposition leader. And this goes to supplement the idea, some of the ideas that the Move Forward Party were pushing were too reformist because the idea of Thailand is the nation, monarchy, and religion. So these underlying principles are not just going to go away. And I think this helped bind or bring together opposites like the Pheu Thai party and the Conservative Party against some of these
Yes.
more reformist parties, and they will continue to do so in the future.
Look, that's 100% right. And if you remember back to our analysis, not only in this election, but the previous election, if we harp back to the previous election, we actually predicted that Prayut would establish a whole series of new parties to defeat, back then, this is several years ago, to defeat the Pheu Thai party, which he did. So he led a coup, seized power, then he handed power over to civil power, but he did so by winning the prime ministership himself after establishing a whole heap of new parties. And even then, it had people that were opposed, but were going to be loyal to seeking power and backing that conservative central element that you just referred to. This latest election, when everyone was saying Move Forward parties won and their leader is going to be the prime minister, we were saying this isn't over yet. There's going to be some massive changes. Let's see who gets a coalition together, which is how it did unfold. And what you say is 100% correct. Those powers to be are never going to let go. But if you extrapolate what that means in the future, at some point, frustrations in society whereby they vote and their vote isn't listened to will bubble and lead to unrest. Good news is that's not going to be in the next 3 years. Bad news, some point in the mid to long term, things could get very, very heated indeed. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I concur with that also. I think it's interesting that ahead, as you mentioned, 3 years on from now, it's going to be back to everyone drawing places for themselves to maneuver for the next elections. So they do have an incentive to work together and form. They do have a parliamentary majority right now to proceed with, some of the economic reforms of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. He's introduced a lot of infrastructure in the country, and arguably it's some of the best infrastructure in Southeast Asia.
Look, I think
yeah.
that's a major point, mate. And if you look at the road infrastructure, the development of the rail infrastructure, even some of the policies that have been passed, the Thailand system, if we look at comparison to most of Southeast Asia, perhaps with the exception of Singapore, Thailand's way ahead of the other major economies, notably Vietnam and Indonesia. So there are certainly some really positive elements coming out of this. One is the continuation of infrastructure projects. Two, the corruption is limited to some finite people. Three, those that have a lot of experience in planning, developing, and then allocating budgets and implementing them are going to continue. The stability on the short term's stitched up, and that's going to be good. On the longer term, though, there's deprivations of freedoms that are processes of democracy. That's not a criticism, it's a statement of fact. I think this is generally, though, not for pro-democracy seekers. It's a pretty good outcome for the short term in relation to stability and infrastructure projects. I think, though, to the international community, it perhaps limits some foreign investment and some views of the West towards Thailand. Is that a bad thing? I'm not so sure. I'm not making a judgment there. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But
all right, mate. Yep, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that Thailand does look like it will be stable for the next few years.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's going to be yet another interesting election the next time around. And we can, as always, expect Machiavellian skullduggery. All right, mate, let's wrap it up because I got to do another audio on PNG. Okay.
Yeah, that's it from me, Paul. Thanks a lot for your insights. And Mithma, thanks for covering off on the new cabinet. We'll see you on the next audio.